Alright, this is a video that I think is worthy of making. This is because you can now see both sides of the spectrum and what it's like from waking up very early in the morning, getting up very early in the morning compared to getting up only slightly later than 3 hours. Only slightly later than 3 hours. So I got up at, I was going in and out of sleep past a certain point, and I went to the other room to go get my phone to check what the time is. I decided I would use my phone instead of my tablet. I didn't actually think of using my tablet to check the time. That's why I picked up my phone. And I picked up my phone instead of my watch because I couldn't find my watch. I ideally would have used my watch. Reason being, I don't want to have access to so many apps on the phone. All of the apps that it has. First thing. Time. You can now I think I now understand where feelings of ungratefulness / unhappiness come from when waking up only slightly later than 3 hours compared to 4:45 in the morning. I was just lying down, but you hear me shift. Ever since when I started to wake up again, I've been laying in bed. In my head, I don't remember the exact thoughts I was having, but I know I was feeling ungrateful because I know what it's like to be on the other side. I know what it's like to come off the screens earlier than I did last night and then wake up very early naturally. I think what where the ungratefulness could come from and why I could be feeling ungrateful why I could be thinking in an ungrateful way is because firstly I'll be starting the day off in pain. If I stay in bed for too long, my waist will start hurting me. Secondly, I now had the mindset that when I wake up at around this time, or in this case, or how I think is, if back in the days when, it was a few days ago, but back in the day, that's what I'm calling it, back in the days when I'd wake up at 9:30 in the morning. It was like my perception of time increased. It sped up. So it was like I couldn't actually really enjoy life for what it was. I couldn't enjoy life how I wanted to enjoy life. Because my perception of time was just too fast too. Another thing I'd say in my specific context, for me as an individual, because of the environment I'm in and how I think about certain things, I'd also say, because I could hear, if I wake up at this certain time, I may wake up after my which means I may hear the news and I don't want to hear the news about Ukraine or what Russia or what Ukraine is trying to do. I'm not trying. If things were ideal, that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't hear the news at all. I think if the news really cared about people's mental health, they'd make a very specific section for it. Okay, I haven't just woken up anymore. I've gone and shaved and brushed my teeth, so let's get back to it. In my opinion, if they really cared, they'd probably make like a section. Maybe like, for example, you have one story about the war, and then you have one. Oh, for a second I thought I was hearing the news in the background, the theme tune. So, for example, say if they did really care, you could have one story about the Ukraine war, and one about how you, as a normal citizen of the UK, or wherever you are in the world, how you could deal with this message, with these pieces of advice coming from fully qualified therapists that have had a lot of experience, so they know what they're doing. If this were the case, if this were a thing that were to happen, I wouldn't want a therapist in training. Not for something so severe. Maybe in different situations where they're talking one-on-one with clients, but not with this war, because I think it would just be too important to give it to someone that's in training, that has very little experience. Although they would learn a lot from it, I just think if you were to do that, then you should mix it up with both, not only experienced and knowledgeable therapists that know what they're talking about, but also therapists in training. And perhaps the therapists in training can ask the experienced therapists a whole load of questions, because it could be that the in-training therapist has the same questions that we, behind the screens, have, that we can't ask them because we're not with them. Wow, that sounds. And then I just say, you can just keep on alternating it like that, and then add your other stories here and there to make it sound like you don't actually only care about presenting the war for more views. Whatever can trigger a fear response, it seems like that's what the news are going to predominantly present on their platform, because it means more people click. They very unfortunately have built their entire platform based off the fear response, and what therapy in a nutshell is talking about, like amygdala. I haven't gone and educated myself on this topic, so I can't speak about it much. I think it's something like, with our lizard brain, we're always looking out for danger, and then you can get that sort of fear response whilst you're scanning. I think I actually experienced that whilst my dad, he was walking up the stairs, and I just finished shaving in the bathroom, and it was like I could feel a feeling in between my pecs. In my head I was thinking, show enough respect to talk to me whilst we're in the same location. But in order to undo that feeling that I had, I just took deep breaths. You think, just take a deep breath when you're feeling stressed and when you're feeling yeah, maybe when you're feeling nervous as well, you think, oh, that's cliche, that guy's talking shit, but it actually works. From my personal experience anyway, it certainly did that time. But what is the main point of this? So I was talking about the news because I don't want to hear that first thing in the morning. I'd much rather get up before my parents and then have many hours beforehand in which I've experienced peace. But I'm going to feel grateful for how today has gone so far, because I now have an understanding of why I could feel grateful and where I could go from here. It's a must to gratitude journal, because if I start off the day feeling ungrateful due to oversleeping and all of that, like I've done today, then that habit can build, and then I look at the world in a much more pessimistic way compared to if I were to wake up only 3 and a bit hours before that, at anywhere around 4 to 5 in the morning, or even 4 to 6. So, in conclusion, what would I say? I would say because of how today's gone, I was on YouTube until 10:30. I put the screens away at that point. I was commenting on one of Luke Spurgeon's most recent videos about, part of the title was like something along the lines of being the brother you never had. I was commenting on his thing, big him up, helping people out there. I'd say Luke, he's on a path that personally aligns with my values. But I think if I spread my incy wincy bincy influence, that he could grow very drastically. Of course, along with the influence of other people who are in the same mind space as we are, self-improvers, self-improvement, self-improve women, and all of that. I think I must be, in order to get that same 4 to 5 a.m. wake up time, I must put the phones away at 7:30. That's what I've come up with. Must. Because I did it at 10:30 thinking, okay, it's a bit late, but it should be fine. And honestly, I do think it was, but I stayed in bed. None of that. That's probably that's the major reason as to why I also allowed myself to oversleep as well. What else? No, I think that's it. Use what I just said to sort out my evening routine. That's it. But anyway, I think that's the end of the video. I'll catch you in the log. I'll catch you in today's log. Because I've woken up later, it may actually be shorter than usual. It may be like half an hour or something, for example, to just get further back on track. Even though I've woken up later, I actually predict I want to be able to get a lot more done, because I've made a new style. Instead of saying, oh, I've got this, and this to do today, I've made ladders from many sections I can pick. Made like 2 3/4 A5 pages of just topics alone, just topic names, and also some very, very general ideas as to how I want to go about it. But yeah, I'm going to end this video here. Take care of yourselves, don't suppress yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh. No gun fingers. Salute. No gun finger salute. Just normal salute. Bye.